Sometimes I catch myself in the mirror and think, what am I looking at, really? Not the face, not the person I've become, but what is this thing that's looking back? We are, at the most fundamental level, just particles, quarks and electrons, bound together by forces we've given names to. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces. 4 simple rules that govern everything. And somehow, through just these 4 forces, atoms formed, then molecules, then cells, then consciousness. Then this moment, right here, where something made of stardust became aware enough to wonder about itself. The scientists tell us that we're made of about 7 octillion atoms. That's a 7 with 27 zeros after it. More atoms in a single human body than there are stars in the observable universe. Each one of those atoms was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. We are, quite literally, the universe looking at itself. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Someone online put it perfectly. We are all just stars experiencing humanity for a brief moment. And they're right. Every carbon atom in your body, every oxygen molecule you breathe, every piece of calcium in your bones, it all came from stellar explosions. We're not in the universe. We are the universe, temporarily organized into this shape, this form that can think and feel and question. I read somewhere that if you measure things logarithmically, humans sit almost exactly in the middle between an atom and the entire cosmos. We're halfway between the impossibly small and the incomprehensibly large. A human is roughly 2 meters tall. An atom is 0.1 nanometers. The observable universe stretches 93 billion light-years across. And we're somewhere in the middle of all that vastness, asking why we're here. The quantum physicists, they're discovering stranger things all the time. They're finding evidence that consciousness might not just be electrical signals in our brains. There's this idea that tiny structures inside our neurons, these microscopic tubes called microtubules, might be performing quantum operations. That your thoughts, your awareness, might be connected to the same quantum realm that governs particles everywhere. Some scientists even suggest that consciousness could be entangled with quantum particles beyond your brain. That maybe, just maybe, your awareness could connect with consciousness across the entire universe. It sounds crazy, but then, again, so does existence itself. Someone on a forum wrote, "When I get in bed at night with no distractions at all and dead silence, I get flooded with existential thoughts. I think about my family and myself, creeping closer to death every day. I think about my old friends having great lives, meanwhile, I'm just nobody. I think about the last few years and how I've wasted them doing nothing for my future." And so many larger questions, especially about the universe and my insignificance. I feel that. We all feel that, don't we? In those quiet moments when the phone is down and the day is done, when it's just you and the darkness and the relentless march of time. Walking between worlds, wondering which one is real. That's what someone captioned their photo with. And isn't that the truth? We live in this strange space between the world we can see and touch and the world we know exists beneath it. Between the coffee and the conversation and the atoms vibrating in mostly empty space. Between what feels meaningful and the knowledge that one day the sun will expand and swallow the earth and eventually even the universe itself will slow down and die. But here's the thing that keeps me coming back to. Maybe that's exactly what gives it meaning. The philosophers figured this out long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, close is the time when you will forget all things, and close to the time when all will forget you. He didn't write that to make us despair. He wrote it to free us. If everything ends, if we're just brief flickers in the cosmic story, then we're free to make this moment something. Not because it lasts forever, because it doesn't. I think about time a lot. If you compressed the entire history of the universe into a single year, humans would appear in the last few seconds before midnight on December 31st. Everything we've ever built, everyone we've ever loved, every war fought and peace made, every song sung and poem written, all of it happens in that final fraction of a second. An average human life is 0.16 cosmic seconds, 0.16 seconds. That's all we get. And yet, in that tiny sliver of time, we feel everything. Joy that makes us cry, loss that breaks us open, love that rewrites who we thought we were. We build cities and write books and make art and have children and laugh until our stomachs hurt. We do all of this knowing, somewhere deep down we know, that it ends. Someone posted, having an existential crisis, but make it cute. And I laughed when I read that. Because that's how we cope, isn't it? We joke about the abyss. We put our existential dread in Instagram captions with little emojis. Standing still in a moving world to appreciate what truly matters, with a little meditation emoji. Not all who wander through their thoughts are lost, with a map emoji. We're all doing our best to make sense of this, to find some meaning in the mystery. Here's what the science tells us about consciousness. It might be nothing more than electricity, the flow of electrons through neurons, creating the illusion or the reality of awareness. Or it might be something more. Some scientists propose that even individual electrons might have a primitive form of consciousness, not thoughts, not feelings as we know them, but some basic element of experience. If that's true, then consciousness isn't something that emerged. It's something that was always here, woven into the fabric of reality itself. The philosopher David Chalmers said that a photon might have some element of raw, subjective feeling, some primitive precursor to consciousness, a single particle of light experiencing something. We don't know what, we can't know what, but maybe experiencing nonetheless. And if that's true, then we're not separate from the universe. We're not consciousness happening to matter. We're matter becoming conscious of itself. We're the universe waking up. But what does that mean? What do we do with that? I read a forum post from someone struggling with existential depression. They wrote, "It really hurts me somehow that everything gets swallowed up into the past and forgotten. One day the sun will explode and destroy the earth. Eventually, the universe will slow down and die." Yeah, that hurts me too. But then someone else responded, "These things will happen. It does us no good to dwell on it." And they're right, but they're also wrong, because dwelling on it, sitting with it, feeling the full weight of our impermanence, that's part of being human. That's part of what makes the joy joyful and the love precious. We should think about it. We should feel that strange mixture of terror and wonder. The meaning of life question, it never goes away, does it? We ask it in 1,000 different ways. Why am I here? What's the point? If it all ends, why does any of it matter? Maybe the answer is simpler than we think. Maybe we're asking the wrong question.
Some will drift on
Instead
the
of
wind.
what's the meaning
The
of
matter
life?
that was me
Maybe the question
will
is,
scatter across
what
the
meaning
earth,
will I
and in a
give
strange
to my
way,
life?
I'll become
Because
part
meaning
of
isn't something we
everything.
find. It's something we make.
Death.
Every time we choose
We don't like
kindness
to talk
over
about it,
cruelty.
but it's there.
Every time we
Always
create
there.
something that wasn't there
Standing
before.
in the background of
Every time we
moment.
love someone,
Someone
knowing
posted a
we might
beautiful
lose
line.
them. When you're
The
deep
universe
in
doesn't
thought, but
hand us
remembered
meaning.
you left the
We
oven
create
on.
it.
That's
in
how it
every
feels
moment,
sometimes.
in
We're
every
contemplating the infinite.
I think
and
about
then
my
we
body
remember,
sometimes.
oh right,
These
I'm going to
37
die.
trillion
We're all
cells
going to
all
die.
working together to
And
keep
that
this thing
fact
called
shapes
me
everything.
alive.
The philosopher
Most of my
Heidegger
body's
said
mass
that
is
death
just 4
is the
trillion
horizon
cells.
that gives
Muscle,
shape
bone,
to our
organs.
consciousness.
Another
It's what
40
makes
trillion
the
are
future
blood cells.
feel urgent.
And another 50
why
trillion
we feel time
aren't even
pressure,
mine.
Why we
They're
feel
bacteria living in
anything
my gut,
at
helping
all.
me digest food.
If we had forever,
I'm not even one
nothing
thing.
would matter.
I'm a colony.
We could put
an
everything off
ecosystem,
eternally.
a
We
temporary
could say,
arrangement
I'll
of matter
do
that calls
tomorrow,
itself by
and
a
actually
name.
mean it, because
And
there
in
would
about 80
always
years,
be
give or
another
take,
tomorrow.
this arrangement will come apart.
But we don't have forever.
These atoms will go
We
their
have
own
this,
ways.
right
Some
now.
will become soil.
This moment,
Some will become
which
plants.
is already becoming
Some
the
will
past,
become other
even
animals.
as I speak these words. The Stoics understood this. They meditated on death not to be morbid, but to be present, to remember that this conversation, this sunset, this meal, this person in front of you is happening now and will never happen again in quite this way. Someone wrote in a forum, standing still in a moving world to appreciate what truly matters. That's it. That's the whole thing. The world keeps moving, time keeps passing, entropy increases, the universe expands, and we're here, standing still for just a moment, appreciating it. I wonder sometimes what happens when we die. I mean, really wonder, not in an anxious way, but in a curious way. Do we simply cease? Does consciousness switch off like a light and that's it? Or is there something more? The materialists say, when the brain stops, consciousness stops. Full stop. End of story. But others aren't so sure. The fact that we don't fully understand consciousness means we don't fully understand death either. Maybe death is a transformation rather than an ending. Maybe the information that made up you doesn't just vanish. Maybe it returns to something, becomes something else. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe the atoms that were you become part of a tree, and that tree makes oxygen, and someone breathes that oxygen, and in a strange way, you keep going. Not as yourself, but as part of the great recycling of matter and energy that is the universe. The person who posted about existential depression at night, I think about them a lot, about how common that experience is. Lying in the dark, facing the enormity of existence. The silence becomes heavy, the questions become loud, and there's nowhere to hide from yourself. But here's something I've learned. That feeling of insignificance, of being nobody, of being small, it's not the end of the story. It can be the beginning. Because if we're small, if we're insignificant in the cosmic sense, then we're free. Free from having to be important, free from having to leave a mark, free to just be. Someone captioned their post, "Perhaps we are all just stars experiencing humanity for a brief moment." And I keep coming back to that, because it reframes everything. We're not separate from the cosmos. We're not visitors here. We are this place, temporarily aware of itself. Every atom in your body has a history. The hydrogen formed in the first few minutes after the Big Bang, the carbon, oxygen, nitrogen formed in the bellies of stars over billions of years. The iron in your blood was forged in a supernova explosion. You are ancient. You are cosmic. You are literally made of stardust. And somehow, through processes we're still trying to understand, that stardust organized itself into something that can wonder about its origins, something that can feel love and fear and joy and sadness, something that can look up at the night sky and recognize itself. The scale of it all is almost impossible to comprehend. If you shrunk our entire galaxy down to the size of a human body, our solar system would be no bigger than a single atom. And we live on a planet in that solar system, a pale blue dot, as Carl Sagan called it, suspended in a sunbeam. Everything we've ever known exists on that dot. Every person who ever lived, every empire that ever rose and fell, every moment of suffering and triumph, all of it on this tiny rock orbiting an average star in an unremarkable corner of one galaxy among billions. And yet, this tiny rock produced Mozart and Maya Angelou. It produced the first person who looked at fire and thought, I can use this. It produced everyone you've ever loved. It produced laughter and music and stories and the smell of rain and the taste of coffee and the feeling of sun on your skin. Size doesn't determine significance. The universe might be incomprehensibly vast, but consciousness, awareness, experience, meaning, that might be rare. That might be precious. That might be the universe's way of knowing itself. I read someone's post, "Lost in thought, please leave a message after the beep." And I smiled. Because that's what we're all doing, isn't it? Getting lost in thought, trying to figure it out, trying to understand why we're here and what we're supposed to do with the time we have. And maybe there's no grand answer. Maybe there's no cosmic purpose handed down from high. Maybe the meaning of life is exactly what we make it, in the small moments, in the connections we form, in the kindness we show, in the beauty we create, in the love we share. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering, because everything changes, everything passes. Hold on too tightly to anything, and you'll suffer when it inevitably changes or ends. But the answer isn't to not care. The answer is to love fully, knowing it won't last. To be present, knowing the present becomes past. To commit, knowing everything is temporary. Someone wrote, "In the quiet moments, the loudest revelations often come in the quietest moments." And that's true. It's in the silence that we hear ourselves. It's in the stillness that we feel the movement of time. It's in the pause that we remember we're alive. We spend so much time distracting ourselves, scrolling, watching, listening, anything to avoid the quiet. Because in the quiet, the questions come. The big ones, the scary ones. Am I doing this right? Am I wasting my life? What happens when I die? Does any of this matter? But here's something I've learned. We exist. Right now, in this moment, we exist. You're reading or hearing these words. You're breathing, your heart is beating, billions of cells are working together to keep you alive. Electrical signals are racing through your neurons, creating the experience of this moment, this thought, this feeling. That's not nothing. That's everything.
The ancient Greeks had a concept, kairos, not chronological time, but the right moment, the opportune moment, not how long something takes, but the quality of the moment itself. And I think that's what we're searching for. Not more time, though we all want that, but deeper time, richer time.
Moments that feel full and real and alive. Those moments when you're so present that you forget about time altogether. When you're laughing with friends and suddenly realize hours have passed. When you're creating something and enter that flow state where nothing else exists. When you're holding someone you love and the whole universe contracts down to just that embrace. Those moments are what life is made of. Not the years, not the decades, the moments. I think about the people who came before us, all the humans who lived and died, who faced the same questions we face, who looked at the same stars and wondered, who felt the same fear and hope and confusion. They're gone now. Their thoughts, their fears, their dreams, all gone, except for what they left behind. The books they wrote, the buildings they built, the children they raised, the ideas they shared. And one day we'll be gone too, and people will look back at us the way we look back at them. They'll wonder what it was like to be alive in this time, what we thought about, what we feared, what we hoped for. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's even beautiful, this great relay race of consciousness, each generation carrying the torch for a while before passing it on. We're not meant to carry it forever. We're meant to carry it well, for as long as we can, and then trust others to carry it forward. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. It might exist for trillions more. Against that backdrop, a human life is less than a whisper. But in that whisper is everything. Love, pain, wonder, fear, joy, all of it compressed into 7 or 8 decades if we're lucky. And somehow that makes it more precious, not less. If we lived forever, would anything matter? Would we cherish the sunrise if there were infinite sunrises ahead? Would we hold our loved ones close if we knew we'd never lose them? Would we take risks, create art, speak our truth if we had unlimited time to do it later? Our finitude gives us urgency. It gives us priority. It forces us to choose because we can't do everything, be everyone, see everything. We have to choose, and in choosing, we create meaning. Someone posted, "In search of meaning in a seemingly meaningless cosmos." And I get it. The universe doesn't seem to care. The universe isn't organized around us. The laws of physics don't bend to our hopes and dreams. We're subject to the same forces as everything else: gravity, entropy, chance. But here's the thing. Meaninglessness isn't a property of the universe. It's a human concept. The universe just is. It doesn't have meaning or lack meaning. It exists. We're the ones who ask about meaning, and we're the ones who can create it. Every act of kindness is meaning. Every moment of genuine connection is meaning. Every time we choose hope over despair, love over fear, creation over destruction, that's meaning. Not given to us, made by us. The quantum physicists say that observation affects reality at the smallest scales, that the act of measuring something changes it. Maybe consciousness works the same way on meaning. Maybe meaning doesn't exist until we observe it, create it, live it. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself, but we're also the universe caring about itself, wondering about itself, trying to understand itself, creating beauty and meaning and love in the midst of chaos and entropy. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's more than enough. Maybe that's everything. I look at my hands sometimes, this thing I use to type, to eat, to touch, and I think about how it's made of atoms that are mostly empty space. How if you removed all the space from all the atoms in all the humans on Earth, we'd fit into a sugar cube. How solid things are mostly emptiness, held together by forces we can barely comprehend. And yet, this hand can hold another hand, can wipe away tears, can write words that might comfort someone 100 years from now. This collection of mostly empty atoms, organized by chance and evolution and billions of years of cosmic history, can create and care and love. That's the miracle. Not that we exist, though that's miraculous too, but that we exist and we matter to each other, that we care, that we try, that we keep going, even knowing how it ends. So here we are, between birth and death, between the atom and the cosmos, between meaninglessness and meaning, between knowing we're tiny and feeling infinite, between fear and wonder. Here we are, awake for just a moment in the universe's long dream, looking around, asking questions, feeling things, mattering to each other. And maybe that's what it's all about. Not finding the answer to existence, but existing fully, questioningly, courageously, lovingly, right here, right now, in this brief, impossible, beautiful moment of being alive.